Happening now, the latest on Western New York's COVID-19 spike, what New York's governor says the testing means, plus what we know about 2 stabbings over the weekend here in Jamestown.
And the sun is back for today, but the cooler air is going to be coming on in. I've got the details next. The news at noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now as we start off a new week and are very close to a new month. I'm Justin Gould. Chautauqua County is one of only 4 counties here in the state with a COVID-19 infection rate above the state's 1% average, but it is still among the lowest in the region, red flagged by county health officials. In yesterday's state update, Governor Andrew Cuomo said Chautauqua County's infection rate is 1.5% below the counties of Erie, Niagara, and the city of Buffalo. He says the region was flagged because of a higher infection rate. While the state's average is 1%, the local region is at a combined average of 1.6%, but a one-day spike of 3.4.
We've started a focused testing effort with rapid turnaround. We set up 8 sites. We did 1,000 people. Those numbers for one day show about a 3.4% infection rate for one day. That is a very high number, but that is not a random number. These are people who decided to come in to be tested. Normally you get a high infection rate under those circumstances because these are people who think they may be infected, right?
Cuomo says the numbers are very high when compared to the state numbers, but that increased testing resulted in more positive tests being recorded. He says the numbers are anything but random. Well, Jamestown police are investigating 2 stabbings that took place over the weekend. Jamestown Police Captain Robert Samuelson tells us that a man was taken to UPMC Chautauqua Hospital after he was stabbed following an altercation on Baker Street Saturday night. A woman is now facing charges in connection with that incident. This was the second stabbing that took place Saturday. Crews responded to a second incident on South Main Street earlier in the evening where a man was stabbed in the head. Captain Samuelson tells us that detectives are continuing their investigation and more information will be released soon. Well, over the weekend, around 100 people gathered in Jamestown for a Black Lives Matter rally. As our Christine Kosminski explains, the group spoke to a variety of topics, including how education plays a role in the call for change.
The Jamestown Justice Coalition held a rally yesterday highlighting how education can lead to change in the community. Coalition leader Justin Hubbard, who is also an educator himself, says that learning doesn't just happen in the classroom.
When we say focus on education, it means things like voter education, how to register to vote, when to vote, where to vote, things like that, but also why it's important to vote, and that comes in, understanding and knowing your history, the history of this country, but also the history of our community.
This was one of several rallies held at Jamestown's Dow Park following the police killing of George Floyd. The rally has fostered conversation locally between the community, local leaders, and law enforcement. Sunday was no different, with several speaking to a wide range of topics ranging from police racism to Black-owned businesses to equality for all.
Hubbard says that since forming this group locally, they have been able to reach the ears of those in power, like Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist, who has recently reestablished the Human Rights Commission. Reporting in the newsroom, Christine Kosminski, WNY News Now.
All right, Christine, thank you. For more on the Jamestown Justice Coalition, you can check out their Facebook page. Well, a rally showing support for President Donald Trump also took place yesterday on Chautauqua Lake. Dubbed Votin' and Votin', the event was organized by Lakewood residents Greg Carr and Cindy Watson. Watson tells us they were inspired by similar events nationwide.
Well, me and Greg have seen some of the boat parades around in the United States, and we got really excited about it and thought we would have one on our lake and get the patriotism going for our president and for law enforcement, and it worked out very, very well.
Around 100 boats joined the parade, with hundreds lining the lake in support of the commander-in-chief. Additionally, skydivers took part in the festivity, Watson says her group sold around 300 raffle tickets to offset costs associated with skydivers and the music. A previous gathering also drew hundreds from the community to the waterway. Well, we thank you for joining us here for WNY News Now as we start off a brand new week and are awfully close to a brand new month as well. And there's a lot of new in the air around here. As Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter and I know all too well, as it may be looking a little bit different today, Dakota, for a lot of people, because we are in a brand new studio.
Yes.
Similar setup as we had before.
It's all new around here, people.
Yeah, all new for us. And we'll talk a little bit more about it later on. But I think like one of the biggest things, and I think we're going to do a post a little bit later today kind of showcasing some of the work. But this morning working in the newsroom, I felt like I had a new job.
Yeah,
it was really, really weird. I'm like, okay, let's do some stories. But nevertheless.
Same here. I mean, we have a whole new weather office. It is brand new. We have new computers, new equipment. I even have a new clicker.
Yeah.
So, I'm having to learn some new features of our new systems. But hey, you know what? It is so nice to be in here.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks absolutely fantastic in here. The crew has been working on this for, gosh, I want to say a couple of months getting this all prepared. And last week, of course, if you remember, we were only doing 10-minute updates because obviously we were moving equipment over here. So, but it's nice to be back to our normal format, and it's nice to be standing up here on my new wall and everything.
Yeah.
So,
and one thing, too, that the people don't realize is COVID-friendly, of course, with social distancing in mind. Dakota and I are now finally in the same space. We have a big enough space. Our entire studio is in one large room, which is really nice because I think a lot of people don't realize is before you were in a totally different section. And I talk to you through my earpiece. Now I can at least hear you and have a real conversation.
Hi, Justin.
Hello, Dakota. 6 feet, my friend.
6 feet. Exactly. Speaking of 6 feet, hey, how about Presque Isle Beach? This is going to be a place to be today. Looking great, 74 degrees, but it is a bit windy with that southeast wind averaging about 12 miles per hour. First defense Doppler radar, nothing new with this one. Of course, this radar, we've had it since day one, and we are going to continue to have it for you, showing you absolutely nothing across the area. It's going to stay that way through the day. So today is going to be a mainly sunny day. 65 here in town right now, 71 Mayville, 74 in Fredonia, 72 in Clamor. So temperatures below average for this time of the year. And today is actually the end of meteorological summer. Tomorrow starts in meteorological fall, at least for those of us weather weenies who work in this business. 68 degrees was the high yesterday. It felt great out there. 54 is where we started the day. 97 is the record high set back in 1924. We're going to be nowhere near that. So through the afternoon today, lots of sunshine, a few more clouds as we go throughout the afternoon. Otherwise, a nice day. The wind comes up 73 to 79 with a southeast wind averaging about 7 to 17 miles per hour. We've got some rain in the forecast and more cooler air will be on the way. I'll talk about it in a few. Justin?
All right, Dakota, thank you very much. Real quick before we move on, let's check in with the comments. Got to say hello to Pam. Hopefully they're doing well. Good to see Wendy, Pat, and Christine as well. My tablet wasn't quite hooked up to the internet yet, so I couldn't get on earlier. Good to see Rod and Tyler. Hopefully everyone's having a good day. We thank you so much for tuning in here. Let's take you to the town of Carroll now, where officials are on the lookout for whoever's behind a string of car burglaries that happened over this weekend. They're now urging residents to remove valuables from their vehicles and lock them up at night. Town of Carroll Supervisor Russell Payne tells us that there were a few break-ins, mostly on Howard and Falconer Streets. Payne expressed surprise that people need to be reminded to lock their vehicles up and not leave valuables in them. Police Chief Bill Nelson and his department are now investigating those burglaries, but Payne notes that the town of Carroll has a relatively low crime rate all over. Payne suspects the break-ins were done by maybe some younger people who could be bored, especially with the COVID-19 restrictions in place. Simply locking cars and taking valuables into a home will solve the issue, according to Payne. Well, the staff at the Audubon Community Nature Center on Riverside Road in Frewsburg are hard at work preparing to reopen part of their center for public visits this week. Now, since closing the building in mid-March, the center has been preparing for reopening, which is slated for this Saturday. Only part of the building will be open to the public, including a revamped indoor nature play area, new and improved restrooms, and a new Lost Worlds exhibit. Now, Now, starting on Saturday, those restrooms, their gift shop, discovery room, and first floor exhibit space will be open. The third floor play area that was mentioned will be open on a reservation-only basis. Because access is limited, the center will be using donation-only pricing instead of normal admission rates. The center is open to throughout the weekend, and they remind visitors to please wear face masks and practice social distancing. Well, coming up next, what do county officials expect as we get closer to reopening schools this fall? And later, a full look at this week's weather forecast as we gear towards fall. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
I grew up in a single-parent home. We were raised by my mom in a one-bedroom apartment in Queens, and I slept in what was supposed to be a dining room just off the kitchen. We were poor and fell behind in our bills. More than once, our electricity was shut off and there were eviction notices taped to our door. I remember walking into our kitchen and finding my mother standing by the stove, crying to herself because she didn't know what to do and felt helpless. I was about 9 or 10 when our apartment was robbed. I remember arriving home with my mother and brother and finding the door open, feeling confused because the first thing I saw was that our television, a set which forever sat on a stand in the living room, was missing. I know firsthand what it's like to be a victim, to be assaulted, robbed, to have things taken from you which you're never going to get back, and to be scarred by experiences which 30 and 40 years later still haunt me. We're lucky enough to live in Chautauqua County where by and large we feel safe, but unfortunately bad things do happen here. I want to be the district attorney who personally prosecutes the most serious crimes and who's there for victims every step of the way. These are the people I want to represent, to fight for their justice, to fight for our justice in the courtroom, to help people who have suffered at the hands of others. This is why I want to be your district attorney.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
And welcome back. With schools across the county opening in one form or another, county health officials expect an increase in positive COVID-19 cases. Chautauqua County Public Health Director Christine Schuyler, during an update last week, said that the county remains confident that the outbreak at the Fieldbrook Foods is getting under control, and an increase in positive test cases is likely with schools and colleges now returning to classes. She cautioned that residents are responsible for taking safety measures because what they do impacts their neighbors and also impacts healthcare workers on the front lines.
People congregating outside of work and people congregating at work, any breach in protective equipment, if you're within 6 feet of somebody and your mask isn't on, you are increasing the risk of spread. If you have large gatherings, you attend parties without any social distancing going on, then the disease is going to spread.
Now, she urges people to use masks while in public, be sure to practice social distancing and wash their hands on a regular basis. She also said that if people are sick, they should stay home and get tested. Well, the FDA is warning Americans that hand sanitizer packaged in bottles and pouches is putting consumers at risk of injury and even death. On Twitter, the agency says the poison control centers are seeing a 79% increase in alcohol-based hand sanitizer exposures compared to last year. The pandemic shortage caused hand sanitizer manufacturers to use beer cans, children's food pouches, and bottles used for water, juice, and even vodka. Well, hand sanitizers can be toxic to an adult if ingested and lethal to some small children. The FDA is particularly concerned because some hand sanitizers have added flavors like chocolate or even raspberry. Poison control experts want to remind people to keep hand sanitizer containers out of the reach of kids. Now, a list of hand sanitizer products consumers are urged not to use is posted on their website at fda.gov. Well, this pandemic and stay-at-home orders have taken a toll on many businesses, and cultural institutions are certainly not exempt. A recent survey suggests that 1/3 of all U.S. museums are in danger of closing. Our Mandy Gaither explains.
Even in good times, those in the museum industry will tell you they operate on a thin budget.
When they all shuttered very suddenly back in March, I was scared for the field.
Laura Laud is president and CEO of the American Alliance of Museums. In June, the organization surveyed 750 museum directors across the U.S. She says the results confirmed her worst fears.
1 in 3 museum directors reported that there's significant risk of their having to close permanently, or that they just don't know if or how they can survive absent some, additional financial relief in the coming months.
Lott says many museums remain closed or only partially open. Those with outdoor space like botanical gardens or zoos are faring better than those that are indoors and interactive like science centers and children's museums. She says the industry accounts for 750,000 jobs, contributes $50 billion to the economy each year, and many benefited from PPP loans in the spring, but now that money is running out.
The longer, the pandemic goes on, the more museums I'm afraid we actually are at risk of losing permanently.
For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Mandy Gaither.
All right, Mandy, thank you for your reporting. A new survey found that working from home during the pandemic hasn't really hurt productivity. The HR consulting firm Mercury recently surveyed nearly 800 U.S. employees. It found that more than 90% of them said productivity during the pandemic was about the same or even better before it was during the crisis. It also found that 83% of bosses say even after the crisis is over, they plan to keep flexible work policies in place, such as allowing people to work from home. And 73% say they expect a quarter or more of their workforce to continue working remotely even after COVID is under control. Well, certainly, it's changed the life of so many people. We thank you for joining us here for WNY News Now as we debut a new studio and newsroom today. Set is pretty much the same as we had before, but a new setup that's a little more safe for all of us here to work throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. And Dakota, I think that's one of the biggest things is we found that we don't actually have to be physically in one place to do the news that matters to our viewers. And I think when you look around the community, there are so many places now who are saying, okay, maybe we can have people come and work 2 or 3 days a week, and the rest of the time they work from home, which frees people up to do a lot more too. I mean, I've worked from home, and I've gotten some home things done while I'm there. We were
your honey-do list, right?
Yeah, right. And we were sort of given the directive where it's like, listen, do your job, and whatever else you can fit in, great.
Yeah. And I mean, I've things really haven't changed for me because I still work at home, obviously, on occasions. Like, for example, if we have an overnight severe weather deal and it's not looking like, hey, we're going to have a tornado or whatever, I mostly just do it from my home office. I have a remote connection to all the computers in the weather office, and, I can just do it right from my home office, which is fantastic. And I think we talked about this a little last week, talking about how the wealth of technology has just improved for us to do this. Because 20 years ago, this would not have been possible.
No, certainly not. In the internet, I think, especially gearing towards this fall election, just over the weekend with the various rallies here locally, you can just see everything played out on social media.
Yeah.
And that's how they got people to attend those. and that's how they inform people. I mean, that's how we do our cast every day. So it's quite amazing to see. And
Could you imagine doing a show like this on a 56K dial-up connection?
Oh God, no.
Only us OG tech people will know the sound of modems dialing the phone number. You know, only us OG people know that. All right, chance of rain over the next 5 days here. We're going to be dry today. Now, there's a small chance for at least a shower, especially tomorrow. It's not looking like a huge chance, but the better chance of rain is going to be Wednesday and Thursday, and we'll also keep a chance of rain in the forecast on Friday. Hey, if you have a tea time today, looking great. 75 at 2 o'clock, 76 at 4, and 73 at 6 o'clock, but there'll be more clouds, especially as we go through the afternoon hours, but the sunshine will be ruling throughout much of the day, and it's going to be breeziest too. Look at this southeast wind averaging about 10 to 20 miles per hour. So today is the last day of meteorological summer, at least in the weather world. The last day of summer isn't until the 23rd of September, which is when we start fall. We crank up the humidity a bit more, especially as we go into the middle part of the week, and we have a few thunderstorms along with that, and fall-like air is going to be returning as we go into the weekend. Right now, live look downtown from the top of the DoubleTree Hotel really just shows you the sunshine out there right now. 69 as a noon hour right now. Light wind south at 9, and it feels like 69. Dew point not excessively high today. So again, it's not going to be all that humid, but as I've been telling you, the cooler air is going to be coming on in. There's going to be a big trough that's going to dig right into the continental 48. So when you see all this blue, that is temperatures that are below average. The orange are temperatures above average. So as you can see here, we're in this below average range. This goes all the way out until almost the middle of next month. So cooler air is going to be on the way. It's going to be feeling like fall. So if you don't like the heat and the humidity, hang on. More of it's on the way. Satellite and radar composite shows you just a few of those clouds moving across the southern tier. Otherwise, most of us are in full sunshine and not a whole lot going on right here, but there's severe thunderstorms back here across the Midwest. Those are staying away from us. There's a severe thunderstorm watch out there, but those are staying away from us. The newest run of the in-house computer model on Future Scan shows you just a few of those little pop-up showers later this evening. I'd say about 7, 8 o'clock, best chance for that. I wouldn't count on those actually materializing, but if they do, don't be like, oh, Hunter, because I was here telling you that. Now, as we go into tomorrow, a few scattered showers will be coming our way, especially through the day. Now, this particular model can only go out so far, but it is starting to paint the picture for Wednesday, more widespread coverage, at least in the rain coverage for Wednesday, and some thunderstorms are going to be possible through the day on Wednesday. Zone forecast, let's take a look at it here. Temperatures at least in the lower 70s for most areas today. It's going to be nice, but actually quite seasonable. 7 days down the road we go for you. 76 tomorrow, 79 on Wednesday, but it's going to get a lot more humid along with that. 80 degrees as we go into Thursday and a few showers. Friday, we keep the chance for a few showers in there. Gobs of sun on Saturday, but cooler, and we stay rather cool for this time of the year into Sunday. Jay?
Yeah, it looks amazing, Dakota. Thank you. Well, you'd be nuts not to grab some nuts today, not just nuts, but dried fruit and grains as well. It's because it's National Trail Mix Day. Now, the nuts supply our bodies with some good fats as well as sustained energy. Trail mix keeps us healthy without spoiling since most of the ingredients are dried. And according to the nationaldaycalendar.com, two surfers first claimed they created it back in 1968 when they blended peanuts and raisins for an energy snack. Now, you can make your own trail mix by using your favorites. Many varieties are available at grocery stores as well. Be sure to use the hashtag National Trail Mix Day on social media. Making me hungry for lunchtime. That's going to do it for us today. Of course, news continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. We'll show you that DoubleTree camera over downtown Jamestown one more time. We're back tomorrow here at noon. Hope to see you then.